Good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Inspiration for Today. And it's Monday. Good to see you. I hope you had a good weekend. And as you know, if you watched last week, we are in the midst of our top 10 most favorite Bible promises. Rick Warren says there are 6,000. We voted, we narrowed it down, and you guys voted for your top 10 most favorite. And this morning, I have one of my very best friends, Dick Whitten. Pastor Dick Whitten is on. Hi, Dick.
Good. How are you doing this morning?
It's so good. So Dick has a story that goes with promise number 5 in our countdown. And here it is. And I hope you're getting your 3x5 cards ready so you can memorize it also. But this one, as you can see, probably one of all of our favorites, Romans 8:28, which says, "We know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him." And it goes on a little from there, but that's the part we want to memorize and do. Not that all things, well, Dick, tell us, I know you know this verse so well. It's not that all things are good, right?
I've lived this verse.
We all have, but
yes.
So it's not that all things are good, but God works good. What happened to you on this particular story?
Well, it was interesting when you were asking for ideas on what are the best promises, to us from God. And I happened to have a page and 2 pages of promises of God that I put together during a very difficult time in my life. I had cancer. I had surgery for that cancer. And I was in the midst of radiation treatments, daily radiation treatments with other people who were suffering with difficulties. Also, maybe not the same as mine, but they were going through radiation.
And you had just come off triple bypass surgery, also, had you not?
Yeah, I didn't know if you want to include that, but this was 3 months after triple bypass surgery.
Yeah, I do, because that's one of my favorite surgeries. I've had that one, but anyway, I shouldn't laugh. I'm sorry. I caused trouble. Anyway, so you're getting
just know that I had successfully come through the triple bypass surgery and had surgery for cancer, and now I was having radiation treatment, and I was really kind of down, doobie down,
Yeah.
and the people there, we all had something serious about us, and so I spent some time looking for God's promises, things that would be encouraging, because at the radiation lab where we would go, they had different kinds of handouts, but none of them were God-based. They were kind of try to make you feel better, but there was no substance to them. And so I actually did a whole study on my thinking compared to God's promises. And I can give you just a couple. For instance, when I'm thinking, oh man, this is impossible, in Luke 18, we're told, Jesus replied, "What's impossible with men is possible with God." And I probably have 20 different stinking thinking kind of things that I have, that God has a promise that answers each of those. It's not worth it. Well, today's verse, Romans 8:28 says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him and who've been called according to his purpose." So it is worth it, even when we're going through a difficulty. So God used my difficulty to help me put this together, and I actually put together 50 copies and took it into the radiation lab and left it on the counter.
And you thought that was it.
I thought, I'm going to help these people. In 3 days, those 50 copies were gone, and they said, "Hey, can we get some more of those?"
I love it.
And so I actually put together 100 copies, and then I gave them a master that they could use to reproduce any more that they needed. And you know, all of these promises did a lot to help me see things from God's perspective instead of from my perspective. And it just lifted my spirits.
That, Dick, I love that you say it like that, because that really is one of maybe the key of seeing life in a more optimistic way.
Right.
It's easy for me, I'll just play on myself, to focus on what my trouble is, or my,
Right.
I have the feeling everyone can do that, but to see it, what God is saying, changes everything.
It gets us out of ourselves and sees the eternal perspective, for sure.
And then you not only bless those people, but God did answer prayer, and you were okay.
That was 19 years ago, and I have been cancer free for 19 years. Awesome. And my ticker's still ticking.
Yeah. Dick coached me in the early days of how to eat and then take a pill, but we're trying to not do that right these days, Dick.
I hope so.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so those forms and those, they are fantastic. I got to say, friends, I want you to have one. Dick, what were you saying? How can people get a copy?
Well, if they will just email us at the number that's on the screen, or if they will call us at that number, we will email to them a copy of our thinking compared to God's promises. And there are plenty of them, and they will help brighten your day.
Friends who are watching this, you need to do that, because this is an awesome, I don't know what you call it, flyer, or what would you?
I don't know. It's a
form. It's wonderful. I mean, when I got into making these promises, I wanted to make a list of great promises of God. I had the staff suggest verses that were important in their life, and then we all voted on those. But I got a lot of those verses that I put on my list from Dick's paper. But I actually was also blessed by the format that you used. You didn't just list verses.
On the left is our thinking, and on the right are God's promises.
Yeah. That's why I hope you get a copy of it. I mean, when we finish these top 10, and this is the week, Dick, we're counting down to number 1 on Friday.
All right, can't wait.
And by the way, friends, one of the surprising things of doing this vote, one verse stood out way above the rest, almost double the votes of what came in second. And it wasn't John 3:16, which we already had as number, I think it was 6.
Uh-huh.
So you're going to be surprised at that verse. I digress. So friends, be sure you get this thing from Pastor Dick Whitten.
All right.
Dick, you're always a blessing. And I'll bet those were some experiences when did you guys, you were down in that place, were there other people getting radiation?
Oh my gosh, every day there was droves of people. The radiation treatments were like 30 days, 5 days a week for 6 weeks.
So were there so many people that you didn't, or do you see the same people?
Well, I had the same time every day, and so I would sometimes see the same people, but they had people coming in all day long every day.
I see.
Having radiation.
Wow. It almost makes I wish these could be down there now.
Well, I hope they are. I'll have to go back and find it. I gave them the master.
I love it. Well, Dick, thank you for sharing both your life and the paper you made, and I hope everyone takes advantage of it.
It's a privilege and a pleasure to be here. Thanks.
Bye, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow for promise number 4 in our countdown. See you then.